Magandang araw, Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETUlay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETUlay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng ICT's Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del P. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETUlay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Tayo ngayon ay nandito para pag-aralan natin ang for the third quarter yung ating music grade 8. Alam ko excited na ang lahat. This is my first time to teach online, live. And then, alam ko lahat kayo ay interesado to learn how this music of grade 8 for the third quarter will be. So muli, magandang umaga. Ako po si teacher or si tutor Diana na magiging kasama ninyo sa umagang ito for you to learn things about music for grade 8 for the third quarter. I'll be sharing my screen. Let me share my screen with to you. I hope everybody is also excited like me for this morning activity. Okay. For this morning, we will be having our music of Central, South, and West Asian music. I hope nakikita nyo ang aking screen ngayon. Okay. So for this morning's session, our objectives would be the learners would be able to classify musical instruments from Central Asia, South Asia, and West Asia. So before we go on to our discussion, since this is the first day that we are going to have our lesson, let us have a short pretest for the lesson that we are going to discuss. So this is a modified true or false. On your notebook, please write true if the statement is correct, and if it is incorrect, change the underlined word or group of words to make the statement true. That is what you're going to do. True if the statement is true, and write the correct word for the wrong or false underlined word that it is being stated. Number 1. Okay. Can you see the question? Nakikita niyo po ba? Okay. Sige po. Tingnan natin what can we do with this? Okay, ayan po. Okay. Number 1 question, gun is one of the oldest classes of instrument in India. Is it true or false? Gun is one of the oldest classes of instrument of India. Let us see who can answer. Okay. So our answer is I am scrolling my okay. So our answer for number 1 is true. Okay, for number 2 question. That is referred to as Vina during the old civilization. Is it true or false? The underlined word is Vina. That is referred to as Vina during the old civilization. True or false? Let's see who can answer. Number 2. Okay, we have true. That is the answer. Now, let's have number 3 question. Sushir is also known as blown air. It is characterized by the use of air to excite the various resonator. Is it true or false? Okay, the answer is true. Okay. Let's see who are answering. Now, number 4. Tala is described as a membranous percussive instrument. Tala is described as a membranous percussive instrument. Is it true or false? Okay, good morning po for watching from Southern Leyte. Chepay, Kaindoy, let us recognize them who are watching right now. Also to our EPS from Cavite, Ma'am Len Mendoza. Okay, now let's see who can answer. Okay, so the answer is false. And the correct word or correct term is avanad, meaning for number 4, avanad is described as membranous percussive instrument. Okay? Okay. Next number, vivat is described as wind instrument. So is it true or false? Let's see who can answer. I hope marami pong nanonood sa atin ngayon at nakakapakinig. The answer is false. It is bowed string. bowed string is described as wind instrument. So that is the answer. Okay. Let us go on with our lesson for today. So sa umagang ito, tutulungan ko kayo mga bata at maging ang mga magulang na siyang tumututok sa pag-aaral ng kanilang mga anak. Salamat po sa inyo dahil binibigyan niyo sila ng panahon at oras na matulungan sila upang maunawaan nilang lalo ang kanilang mga lessons. Sa umagang ito, we have the music of the, katulad ng binanggit ko kanina, Central, South, and West Asian music. So, una, pag-uusapan po natin ang musika ng India. Musika ng India or kabilang ito sa South Asia. South Asia. India is said to be the largest country in South Asia. So, pinakamalaki daw ang India. Excuse me. Its music is as vast as its geographic location, as large as its demographic population. The music of India reflects different aspects of Asian culture through its timbre, rhythm, melody, texture, and style. So, ibig sabihin, yung musika ng India ay rich talaga siya when it comes to rhythm, timbre. Nabanggit na natin kanina na yung musika nila, particular sila dun sa mga elements of music, different elements of music. In general, Indian music remains fundamental. As I have said earlier, particular sila sa elemento ng musika, sa iba't ibang elemento ng musika. So that is the fundamental, pundasyon, to the lives of the people of India as a source of spiritual inspiration, cultural expression, and entertainment. Alam naman natin na ang mga Indiano ay spiritually rich also with their cultural expression, and katulad ng mga Pinoy, masayahin din sila. So they love entertainment. So we are talking about instrumental music of India. There are many musical instruments of India. There are many musical instruments of India, and some instruments are used primarily in North Indian music. Kapag sinabi nating North Indian music, it is called as Hindustani Sangeet. While many other instruments are used South Indian music, or we call it Carnatic. Inuulit ko, kapag po sinabi na Hindustani music, yun po ay galing sa North. Kapag naman po ang ating music ay tinatawag na Carnatic Sangeet, it is coming from South Indian music. Maliwanag po ba? So sana po nauunawaan natin yun. Okay. Ngayon po, pag-uusapan naman natin yung classification or classification of musical instruments of India. So marami po yan. Sa India, meron tayong 5 na uri or classification ng music nila. So una dyan is GAN. We call it GAN. So GAN is described as a non-membranous percussive instrument but with solid resonators. It is one of the oldest classes of instrument in India. So non-membranous percussive instrument. Ibig sabihin, kapag sinabi kasi nating membranous, membrane, ibig sabihin yari siya, napapatunog siya sa pamamagitan ng pinatuyong balat ng hayop. So membrane ang tawag doon, membranous percussive instrument. Kapag non-membrane, ibig sabihin yung kayarian niya as instrument, pero percussion instrument siya, ay hindi galing sa pinatuyong balat ng hayop. Okay? So it is one of the oldest classes of instrument in India. So isa sa pinakaluma. It may also be a melodic instrument or instruments to keep tal. Una dyan yung gatham. Gatham is nothing more than a large clay pot. It is very commonly played in South Indian classical performances. Kung makikita natin yung gatham, sa Pilipinas meron tayong ganyan eh. Ganyan ang itsura dito sa atin. Pwede nating tawaging tapayan, simpleng tapayan, parang ganon, parang lagay ng tubig noong mga panahon na sinauna. Pero sa kanila, they made it as their instrument. Okay? So yun kasi sa Asian music kasi that is particular, siguro sa pagpapatuloy natin mapapansin niyo bakit kaya yung instrumento na meron ang ibang bansa, meron din sa Pilipinas. katulad, minsan ay naiibahan lang sa disenyo, pero almost the same. Pangalawa, kartal is an ancient instrument mainly used in devotional or folk songs. It has arrived its name from Sanskrit word kara, meaning hand, or tala, meaning clapping. So, para siyang clapper. Yun yung kanyang kayarian. Sa pagpapatuloy, meron tayong tinatawag na manjira and is known by many names. It's also called janj, tala, mondira, or small size kafi or large size, or a host of other names. It is basically a set of small cymbals. It is a ubiquitous component of dance and music and bhajans. So, yun po. So, we also have the knot or the nut. Nut is a small pot used in Kashmir as a percussion instrument. It may be bought or thought of as a North Indian gatam. Katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, parehas lang. Parang North Indian gatam kasi yung gatam from South. Okay? Next po, number 2, avanad. Avanad, these are instruments that produce sound with strike-able membranes. Kanina, yung pinag-usapan po natin, yung gun ay non-membranous. Ito naman po ay membranous. Okay? Tabla, dolak, dol, daf, damru, o mridangam, nagada, pakawaj, nol, or mridangam, or nal, or dolki are examples of membranous percussion instruments. Okay? So, daf is an Indian flat drum membrane on one side of large wooden ring. So, nakabalot siya, binalutan yung large wooden ring ng balat na hayop. It is used mostly in folk music and frequently employed by Bollywood music directors. Dafli is a popular version of daf, which is metal sounders o at emitter of daf. So, yun po yun. Dol is a very popular two-sided barrel of cylindrical shaped North Indian instrument, very popular to dolak but larger in size. So, medyo malaki lang siya and differs from dolak in that sides are struck with sticks rather than hands. So, yung kanina na daf, yun po ay pinapalo ng kamay. Ito naman pong dol ay pinapalo ng stick. So, tumutunog siya, pinapalo din, pero stick. So, we call it as, yung mga ganitong instrumento, tinatawag natin siya na membranophones kasi membrane. Okay? And we play it by striking. Okay? Also with the gun instruments. Next, tabla is a pair of twin hand drums. Ito naman, twin hand drums from the Indian subcontinent. Since the 18th principal percussion instrument in Hindustani classical music, where it may be played solo as accompaniment with other instrument and vocals as part of a larger ensemble. So, pwede siyang solo, pwede siyang i-play ng solo, parang kung dito sa Pilipinas, yung gitara, pwedeng solo, pwede rin naman kasama siya sa isang ensemble or group of instruments. Pag sinabi natin pong group of instruments, we call it ensemble. Okay? Okay. The third one is sushir. Sushir is also known as blown air. Blown air or sa Hornbostel sax classification, we call it as aerophone. Aero, meaning we create sound using the air. Okay? It is characterized by the use of air to excite the various resonators. So we have the first one is the bansuri, second one is shenai, the third one is shan, and we have the surpeti. Kung mapapansin po natin, yung surpeti, shenai and bansuri, para siyang yung mga flute natin, flute na alam natin, na familiar tayo. So we have the flute, we have the, yun nga, yung shenai, and then we have the shank. Yung shank po, it's a shell that creates sound. Kung dito sa atin, yung tinatawag nating pakakak. Okay? Surpeti. We also have that. And then number 4, we have tat. Tat is referred to as vina during the old civilization. So this class of instruments are plucked instruments or pluck. Kinakalabit, pinatutunog siya through plucking. So pag sinabi nating plucking, it is included, these are string instruments. So kapag sinabi nating plucked instruments, ano po ang tawag doon? Sa hornbostel sax classification, kapag sinabi nating plucking, it is called as chordophones. Okay? So napag-usapan na natin kanina, meron tayong membranophones, meron tayong chordophones ngayon, and meron ulit din tayong aerophones kanina. So panglima, we have VTAT. VTAT is described as bowed string instruments. One of the oldest classifications of instruments, and yet did not occupy a place in classical Indian music until the last few centuries. So, sabi dito, bowed string instrument. So, ibig sabihin, gumagamit ng bow para mapatunog ang instrumento. Parang violin, kasi doon tayo familiar. So, they use bow to create sound. So, we have the banam, we have the esraj, we have the sarangi, and shikara. So, these are the VTAT instruments. So, sabi nga dito, oldest instrument. Okay? Next po. Okay, we have the tala. Tala or rhythm plays an important role in Indian music. Binanggit na po natin yan kanina na sila ay very particular sa fundamentals of music. So it is fundamental to the creation of any musical system. Certainly, from a historic standpoint, rhythm existed many centuries ago before the word rag was ever used. Given this historical pre-002 eminence, it is not surprising that rhythm occupies an important position in the Indian system of music. So sa sinasabi dito, yung Indian music, ang importante talaga sa kanila, ang isa sa pinaka-importante at hindi mawawala sa kanilang musika ay yung strong rhythm. At ito naman talaga ay importante sa lahat ng uri ng musika kasi nandun yung buhay niya. Okay? Tala literally means clap. So, clap. So, yung rhythm kasi, siya yung nagbibigay ng buhay. So, kapag slow, or fast, so yung tibok ng puso kasi natin di ba? Alam na natin yung sa basic meaning ng rhythm, yung beat kasama doon, di ba? So dun bumubuhay, dun siya nabubuhay. So variously translated as tal or taal or taala. So tala is irregular, repeating rhythmic phrase, particularly as rendered on a percussive instrument with an ebb or flow of various intonations represented as a teka. It is also a common Indian system of rhythm. So, yun yung tawag sa tala. So, pag sinabi nating tala, inuulit ko po, pag sinabi nating tala, it is an Indian system of rhythm. So, importante sa Indian music yun. Teka is a sequence of drum syllables or ball. In Indian classical music, both Hindustani classical music and Carnatic music use complex rules to create elaborate patterns of rhythm. So, yun nga, elaborate patterns, meaning whether it is in Hindustani classical music or Carnatic music, still, yung rhythmic pattern is really an important part of the creation of music for them. Tabla, most common instrument for keeping rhythm in Hindustani music. So, yun yung tabla. And mridangam is the most common instrument for keeping rhythm in Carnatic music, also transliterated in mridang. So, mridangam or mridang is only one instrument. Okay, inuulit natin. Tabla is for the Hindustani music and mridangam is for Carnatic music. So, ito yung bumubuhay sa kanilang ritmo, sa kanilang musika. Sunod po natin pag-uusapan ay from Central Asia, which is Pakistan. So sa Pakistan, it says here, Pakistan is known for its unique vocals. Yan. Kanina, Indian, they are most sa rhythm sila sa instrumental music. So sa Pakistan naman, vocal music naman sila. So this distinctive Pakistani sound was formed with multiple influences not only from various parts of South Asia but also includes diverse elements from Central Asia, Persia, Turkey, and the Arab world. So instrumental music of Pakistan is Punjabi. Punjabi music strengthens the importance of musical instruments in Pakistan. Ano ba itong Punjabi? Punjab is a region in South Asia, which is divided into West Punjab and Pakistan and East Punjab, India. Bhangra, one of the most recognized forms of Punjab, is based on the drum of Dol. Okay? So this is significant. These are the significant instruments of Pakistan. We have the tabla. Kanina napansin natin, meron din ang ating tawag dyan, Indian music. Meron din silang tabla. Iba din yung tabla ng Pakistan. So, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, nung nagsisimula pa lang tayo, ang ating musika sa Asia ay halos magkakapareho ang instrumento. Kaya minsan, if you are going to look at it, kung titingnan mo lang yung picture, malilito po talaga tayo. Okay? So, we also have the dolak in Pakistan and the harmonium. Yung tabla po at dolak, these are membranophones. Yung harmonium naman po ay tinatawag natin siyang chordophones. Also, rubab. Okay, these are chordophones instruments. Okay? Next po, Israel. Ito po, yung pangatlong country na pag-uusapan natin ngayon. So, we have Israel from West Asia. Okay? The music of West Asia is modal. Harmony is not emphasized, but rather includes salient features such as melodic complexity and ornamentation, including 1/4 tones and rigorous rhythmic development. So kung napapansin natin, magkakaiba sila ng focus. Sa India, ang kanilang focus ay sa rhythm. Pero halos lahat ng fundamental elements ay sinasakop naman nila, pero yung talagang pinaka focus nila is more of rhythm. Sa Pakistan, yung instruments din, pero sa vocals naman sila mas ine-emphasize nila. This one naman, emphasizing melodic complexity and ornamentation. Ornamentation, parang kung sa Tagalog ay kung sa atin, sa pag-aayos natin ng katawan, yung mga abuloryo na tinatawag ng matatanda. So, including 1/4 tones and rigorous rhythmic development. Okay? Siguro po nakaka-relate din po tayo doon. Sunod, instrumental music of Israel. Ano nga ba yung mga instruments? So, the lute such as the Philippine bandurria and laud traces its origin from the Middle Eastern oud and Indian sitar. Ang India kasi may sitar, parang gitara din po iyon. Goblet drum or darbuk and the tambourine and the other instruments associated with Middle Eastern music are used as accompaniment. Okay? Okay? Medyo bibili na po natin, ha? One of the dances where accompaniment is used in Hora, a dance that often has strong offbeats and asymmetric meters. So these are the musical instruments of Israel. So we have the Jewish lyre, we have the psalterion. So yung Jewish lyre, it is a non-membranous pero membranophone pa rin siya. Okay? Psalterion, this is a chordophone, and shofar, it is the aerophone from Israel. Musical instruments of Arab countries. So we have the goblet and we have the toft. Okay, these both membranophones. Okay? Musical instruments of Middle East. So, ito yung goblet. Sorry. This is, medyo na dito lang po ako. This is a rube. This is a oud. This one is oud. And the other one is darbuk. This is cordophone, and this one is membranophone. Okay, now let's go on to our task. Dito po, tutulungan ko na kayo, siguro from the discussions that we have had earlier, matutulungan ko na kayo na magsagot from this task number 1. So, matching. Identify the instruments on the pictures. Choose your answer from the words inside the box. So, yan. So, I hope marami mong nakikinig at handang matuto. Okay, so we have Krisha May Dario. From Reina Mercedes Vocational. Reina Mercedes Vocational and Industrial School. Okay, thank you for watching po. So let's move to our activity. So there are 3 pictures here. You have the choices. We have the oud, the tabla, and the darbuk and dolak. So please try everybody, kung kayang sumagot, yung mga naka-online po sa atin, please try to answer. So, una, we have the first picture, we have the, so na-flash ko na siya. So, we have the darbuk. It is a membranophone instrument. So, we play it through striking. Next picture, yung gitna po, picture po sa gitna, ano pong tawag dyan kaya? Excuse me. So, we have the, sige po, sagot po tayo. We have the dolak. So, dolak is also a membranophone. Number 3 picture, the third picture, ito pong last picture natin dito sa right side. Okay, so we have the oud. That is the oud. Okay, next po, we have the task 2. Guess the country of origin of the instruments and identify its manner of playing, whether by blowing, pag sabi natin blowing, it is called as aerophone. By plucking, strumming, or bowing, we call it as cordophone. By striking on stretched membrane, we call it as membranophone, and or striking on an object which the whole vibrates to produce a sound, katulad ng gatham, that is called idiophone. Okay, so we have, I just gave here 2 instruments. Okay, so origin of country. Sige po, tingnan natin who can answer. Okay, so we have India. So it is came from India. Nanggaling siya sa India. Ang manner of playing, paano siya pinatutunog or pinatutugtog? Striking. So pinapalo po siya. And sa hornborstel sax classification na kanina po ay pinapaliwanag ko din sa inyo in our discussions. So it is called as membranophone. Okay, now, next picture. Next picture po tayo. We have country of origin. Saan po kaya siya galing? Sana po may sumagot para malaman natin kung naunawaan po o nakaabot po kayo dun sa ating discussions kanina. Though napakabilis. So we have Israel. Okay? And then, manner of playing, we are plucking this. So plucking, kinakalabit. Kinakalabit po, plucking po. And then, so hornborstel sax classification, we have membranophone. Okay? We have cordophone, sorry. Cordophone. Okay? So, this is all for today. Thank you. Baka po may tanong kayo, pwede pong magtanong. We still have few minutes siguro. Meron po ba tayong oras? Let's see. Okay. Maraming salamat po sa mga nanonood. Okay. So, maraming salamat po sa mga nanood ngayon. Okay, thank you very much po.
Good day, this is Teacher Rowan. I'll be your guide in exploring Google Apps for education, for teaching and learning. In Google for Education, teachers can connect and collaborate easily while staying on task. It gives teachers the freedom to spend more time personalizing the learning experience and less time managing it. Students can learn essential skills such as 21st century problem solving, which they can use it in their future careers. As such, the accessibility features will also help and assist every learner to do their best work. Google offers different useful applications that we can use to connect education to technology. This will help our teachers as a 21st century educators to innovate and find ways on how to make teaching and learning more exciting, engaging, effective, and flexible to the demands of the society. Let's re-explore the education experience by discovering new angles to create, collaborate, and communicate as one. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Ang pagkatuto huwag gawing komplikado. Sulong edukalidad.
Good morning to everybody. I will be your Arts 8 tutor for today. I am Tutor Mark. Kaya po sa ating pong mga manonood ngayon, gagabayan ko kayo para sa ating Week 1 lesson para po sa third quarter. Kaya sa mga mag-aaral, siguraduhin hawak na ninyo ang inyong mga self-learning module, ang inyong ballpen, at ganoon na din ang inyong mga papel. We will be having a two-part session regarding this session. At ngayon natin gagawin ang part 1, kung saan ibibigay ko muna ang introduction at magpapakita ako ng ilang mga halimbawa o video para lubos ninyong maunawaan ang ating paksa para sa Arts 8. Kaya kung handa na kayo, handa na rin ako. Mga bata, pakatandaan lamang na ang ating ginagamit na module sa kasalukuyan ay hindi po sa kalabarzon. Ang ginagamit po natin yun ay pangkabuuan. Kaya ang aking presentasyon ay akin din pong inilagay sa ating pong DepEd Commons para sa mga teachers, sa mga magulang, at sa mga mag-aaral na gustong magabayan. Pwede niyo po itong ma-download ng libre. Atin ang simulan. For our Week 1 lesson, we will give focus first in South Asian arts, particularly in some areas of perspective. At para mas lubos natin itong maunawaan, tignan ang ating target sa araw na ito. At the end of the session, you will be able to analyze elements and principles of art in the production of arts and crafts inspired by the cultures of South Asia. My dear learners, you have already studied before in Araling Panlipunan kung ano-ano ba ang mga bansa na makikita sa Timog Asya o South Asia. Let's have a recap. If we try to look at it, nakikita dito sa larawan na ito na ganyan ang itsura ng karamihan sa mga mamamayan sa lugar na ito. Pag tinukoy natin ang South Asia, we have the following countries such as Maldives, India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, and Bhutan. However, ang ating bibigyan ng focus dito mga bata ay ang dalawang bansang ito, ang India at ang Pakistan. Mga bata, handa na bang makinig? Kung opo, hawakan na ang ballpen at isulat ito sa inyong mga papel para kung ano man ang aking impormasyon na babanggitin ay inyong isulat kaagad. Dahil ating tinutukoy ang kasaysayan ng South Asian arts, ating unang babalikan ang bansang India. The Indian arts is actually associated with different eras. At sisimulan natin to sa tinatawag na ancient art. Makikita sa Ajanta Caves ng Maharashtra, India, ang klase ng kuwebang ito. Dito makikita ang caves o mga kuweba na inukit. Inukit sila ng mga sinaunang taong nanirahan sa India at ito ang bahagi ng kanilang art. Nakakamangha sapagkat ang mga kuwebang ito ay hindi basta kuweba. Nagmistula itong mga templo at kakikitaan ng maraming art forms. Approximately, there are 30 rock-cut Buddhist cave monuments which date from the 2nd century BCE to about 480 CE in Aurangabad district of Maharashtra state of India. The caves includes paintings and rock-cut sculptures described as among the finest surviving examples of ancient Indian art, particularly expressive paintings that present emotions through gesture, pose, and form. Meron tayong correction na hindi ito hiya, ito dapat ay da. Ayan. So mga bata, meron daw dito makikita almost 30 mga rock cuts. Ibig sabihin, talagang hinubog siya sa pamamagitan ng sculpture, in-sculpt, o pinorma yung mga bato na magmistula silang mga templo at kakikitaan ng kakaibang artistry. Ito ay mga Buddhist cave na makikita natin sa bansang India. Now, aside from that, we will see here painted ceilings na kakikitaan nga natin ng paniniwalang Buddhism. Also, we could see here a Chaitya worship wherein kakikitaan ito ng mga domes pero walang mga idols o yung mga sinasabi natin na parang estatwa na sumisimbolo sa kanilang mga Diyos o Diyosa. Yan ang makikita dito sa kuwebang ito. Tandaan ang pangalan, yon ay ang Ajanta Caves. Isulat na yan mga bata. Ngayon, dumako tayo sa susunod. Maliban sa makikitang mga paintings sa Ajanta Caves, makikita rin dito ang iba't ibang klase ng paintings doon sa ibabaw mismo o sa kanilang mga ceiling o veranda. Halimbawa sa Cave 17, dito makikita ang 8 Buddhas above 8 couples. At ganun din ang Buddha as the golden goose in his previous life. Para lubos na maunawaan kung ano ba ang tinutukoy ko dito sa Ajanta Cave, tignan ang videong ito. The Ajanta Cave is located in India at ito ay masasabi natin na kabahagi ng UNESCO World Heritage Site na talagang maipagmamalaki ng bansang India sa buong mundo. Sa paglipas ng maraming panahon, ang mga templong na itayo dito ay hindi basta templo na gawa sa mga semento. Bagkus, ito ay hinubog mula sa mga bato na makikita sa kuwebang ito. Yan ay pinukpok, in-sculpture, yung tawag natin ay sculpture, at kung saan sa loob nito ay kakikitaan natin ng mga paintings. Paintings na nasa dome, paintings na nasa wall o nasa ceilings, at diyan natin makikita kung gaano kagagaling ang mga arkitekto at inhinyero ng mga sinaunang taong nanirahan sa India. That's how they look at it. Kaya masasabi natin na napakataas ng arkitekturang ito na mula sa bansang India. So learners, please take note of it. Ang tawag natin dyan ay Ajanta Cave. Kaya sa mga manonood natin, kagaya ni Hans Sabellinia, ganun din kay Antonio Quintos, please make sure to take down notes at para alam natin kung ano ba ang mga bahaging ito. Let's move on. Pagkatapos ng Ajanta Caves, alam ba ninyo na meron pa tayong mga work of arts pero makikita pa rin sa South Asia, hindi nga lamang po sa India. Yan ay makikita sa Central Sri Lanka. Ang tinatawag natin na Sigiriya paintings. Ang Sigiriya paintings ay fresco in format. Ito yung makikita natin na nakapaint sa mga caves o sa ceiling, kung saan idinidepict nito o inilalarawan kung ano ba ang pamumuhay nung hari nung panahong iyon. Sri Lanka's most talked about paintings are the Sigiriya maidens found up the Lion Rock. When they were originally painted in the 5th century, around 500 beautiful ladies decorated the wall in a massive mural which spanned 450 feet in length and 130 in height. Ganong kalaki yun. Mga bata, sa mga nakikinig na grade 8 learners, ang Sigiriya paintings ay makikita daw dun sa Lion Rock. Mamaya ipapakita ko kung ano ba yung itsura ng Lion Rock na ito at bakit siya tinawag na Lion Rock. Bukod dito, ito ay patungkol sa mga maidens, Sigiriya maidens. Sila yung mga tagapagsilbi, sila yung concubine, o sila yung mga asawa ng hari noon na naninirahan dyan sa Sri Lanka. Malalaman ninyo mamaya kung ano ang kanyang pangalan. Tandaan, ang ating pangalawang ancient art mula sa South Asia, itong tinatawag natin na Sigiriya paintings. Just like what I've mentioned earlier, this is a fresco. Fresco is a mural painting technique that involves painting with water-based paint directly onto wet plaster so that the paint becomes an integral part of the plaster. At malalaki ang mga paintings na makikita dyan sa Sri Lanka sa kanila pong tinatawag na Lion Rock. And for you to understand it very well, please watch this video. This is Sri Lanka. Ang nakikita ninyo ay ang distrito ng Matale. This rock rises 200 meters from the surrounding landscape at dyan nabuo ang pamumuhay ng isang hari na kung saan siya ang dahilan kung bakit meron tayong Sigiriya paintings. The site was used as a Buddhist monastic area. And so, etong lugar na ito ay kay Kashyapa. Ito ang Sigiriya Rock Citadel. Etong nakikita ninyong bundok na yan ay hindi bundok. Yan ay isang malaking bato na nakausli. At yan, dyan makikita ang Sigiriya paintings. And as you could see, meron itong malamistulang templo sa tuktok at malalaman natin kung bakit ba siya tinawag na Lion Rock. Remember the name? King Kashyapa. Napansin ninyo mga bata, meron tayo ritong parang paa ng leon na makikita sa ibaba. The top of the rocks was supposed to have been in the form of an enormous lion. That's why the area was called as the Lion Rock. Nakita niyo yung paa? Yan na lang ang natitira sa original nitong pagsasalarawan. And as an illustration, it looks like this. Yan ay isang malaking bato na makikita doon. The site was a palace. Now, if you look onto the western wall, dyan natin makikita yung maraming paintings na aking tinukoy kanina, yung Sigiriya paintings. And as you could see, dyan nakadrawing yung kanyang mga asawa, ang kanyang concubine, at ang kanyang mga maiden o mga tagapagsilbi. At dyan inilarawan o iginuhit sa mga bato na iyan. And remember, the style, it is called fresco. Fresco ang tawag natin sa paraan kung paano yon iginuhit. So, learners, nakakatuwa, di ba? Sa ating ancient art mula sa India o sa South Asia, meron tayong nakikita sa kuweba at meron din tayong makikita sa gilid ng mga bato. At tatandaan ang mga pangalan na ito Ngayon, dumako tayo sa susunod na bahagi. When we talk about the classical period of India, nalalayo na tayo o paalis na tayo sa ancient art, kung saan tayo ngayon ay patukoy na doon sa kanilang mga paniniwala o religion. And when we talk about the classical period of India in terms of their art, ganito ang makikita natin na mistulang idol. In India, the classical age is the period when Indian society grew and thrived, setting the foundations in arts, science, politics, religion, philosophy, and economics that define the Indian culture to this day. At tandaan, this is influential in the Gupta Empire. If you can still remember what you have studied in Araling Panlipunan, it's there. This period lasted from about 320 to 550 CE. And one of its best work in this classical period is this one. That is Shiva. Shiva, the cosmic dancer, which represented by four-armed figure. Meron daw siyang apat na kamay. Ang apat na kamay na ito ay maraming simbolismo. The first figure of that hand holds the fire with which he destroys. Another holds a drum, which is the first sound heard in the world during the creation. Then the third arm points up in a reassuring gesture, while the fourth arm points down to the dwarf in which he dances to. At sabi nga, yan ang tinatawag natin na Shiva as Lord of Dance. It is created during the Kola era. My dear learners, kung ating papansinin, kung dati ay ang kanilang form or work of art ay nandun po sa tinatawag natin na nasa cave o nasa bato, this time, nagka-carve na sila o nagsasculpt na sila mula sa isang bato pero nahiwalay na. Gaya nito, si Shiva. Let's move further. After that, the Islamic ascendancy came. Dumating ang influence ng Islamic group. At itong tinatawag natin na transitional period. And to this era or to this period, nabuo ang tinatawag natin na Mahabharata at Ramayana, the two Indian epics. Mahabharata, which is the longest, based on the word mahaba na nga, mahaba talaga ang epic na ito, the longest epic in the world, and we have also Ramayana. These two emerged during this Islamic ascendancy. And I could say that this is one of the best literary arts of India na hanggang sa kasalukuyan ay maipagmamalaki ng bansang ito. Now, after having the epic format, tapos na rin tayo sa sculpture, ngayon naman, dumako tayo sa susunod na bahagi. During the Mughal period, nagsimulang magtayo ng napakalalaking mga templo sa India at isa rito ang pinakasikat na Taj Mahal. Mughals contributed to the enrichment of Indian culture, especially in painting and architecture. The most splendid one is what we call as Taj Mahal, built by Shah Jahan in memory of his wife. Ang pangalan ng kanyang asawa ay si Mumtaz Mahal. Kaya mga learners, sa inyong nakita natin ang transition dito na ang kanilang work of art ay nakaguhit o nakalikha mula sa mga kuweba o sa gilid ng bundok, sa mga bato. Sumunod ay naglilok sila mula sa iba't ibang klase ng mga hard materials. And then it moved on to the literary pieces like the epics, kagaya ng Mahabharata at Ramayana. And now, we have the different architectures. Temples such as this one, the Taj Mahal. Actually, this is a tomb. Okay? Ito ay isang tomb para po sa asawa ni Shah Jahan. Now, moving on. Aside from having this different architectural format, kasali rin sa Indian art yung tinatawag natin na culture-based. At kung tayo sa mga Katoliko o sa mga Chinese, meron tayong tinatawag na New Year, they have the so-called Diwali. Diwali falls in either October or November each year, depending on the cycle of the moon, and it is observed in the 5th day of Kartik, the holiest month in the Hindu lunar calendar. So mga bata, pag sinabi nating Diwali, simple lang to. Yan ay ang New Year celebration ng bansang India, kung saan gumagamit sila ng napakaraming pailaw at kabahagi ito ng kanilang paniniwala. It is a very exciting and colorful holiday. Homes are clean to welcome the New Year and windows are open so that the Hindu goddess named Lakshmi can enter. Tandaan ang pangalan ng Hindu goddess, siya ay si Lakshmi. At sabi rito, kinakailangan ay malinis at maliwanag ang kanilang bahay para pumasok dito si Lakshmi. They are burning the so-called diyas o yung tinatawag natin na Diwali clay lamps na nakikita po natin dito. And this is what we call as the Festival of Lights na parang kagaya ng sineselebrate natin na New Year. Remember the word, my dear learners, it's Diwali. At Ito ang halimbawa na mula po sa National Geographic Channel. This is Tamahal. Sabi nga natin, nagbago at nag-improve ang arts ng India at kabahagi nito ang kanilang celebration sa tinatawag na Diwali. Dito talagang naghahanda ang mga tao, bumibili sila ng mga bago nilang damit at tinatawag nga natin na Indian silk. Maliban dito, sila ay gumagamit ng mga pailaw in celebration for the Diwali. At gaya ng inyong nakikita, masyado talagang magarbo, pero kakikitaan natin to ng isang klase ng art na may sinasaboy sila sa sahig. Meron silang parang iginuguhit, pero hindi sila talaga nagdo-drawing. They are using powder. They are using a sand, colored sand. Gaya ng nakita ninyo kanina, at ito ay kabahagi pa rin ng kanilang paniniwala. And that is what we call now as the Rangoli. The Rangoli looks like this. Yan ay colored sand na inaayos o dinidecorate nila sa kanilang mga sa labas ng kanilang bahay, especially kapag pinagdiriwang nga nila yung kanilang celebration na in association sa atin yung kanilang New Year. So, Rangoli is one of the most beautiful or most pleasing art forms of India, and it comes from two words, Ranga meaning color and Avali which means raw. Dahil nakaayos ang color combination nito according to the raw, at pwedeng ito ay magmukhang isang bulaklak. Rangoli is the art of making designs or patterns on the walls or the floor of the house using finely ground white powder along with different colors. Numerous households in the Indian subcontinent make use of Rangoli designs for decorating the country yard of their houses. Gaya nga ng aking nabanggit, yan ay kitang-kita lalo kapag sinelebrate nila yung kanilang New Year celebration. Now, this is an example of a Rangoli art. Panoorin po ito. Paano kaya nila nabubuo yung pabilog? Usually, they put this kind of ring o yung bilog and then sinasaboy lang gamit ang kanilang mga kamay at inilalagay yung colored sand kagaya nito. And once it is complete, gaya ng nakita ninyo, tatanggalin. Pag tinanggal, they will put another combination on it by using usual materials to decorate it. Kagaya niyan, takip ng mineral water. At nakita ninyo, mukha na siyang disenyo ng isang bulaklak. Again, this is an Indian art named Rangoli. Hindi ba't napakaingat sapagkat pag hindi maingat, pwedeng mabura at uulitin ninyo ulit yung design. So as you could see, yung circular format ay kanilang inaayos at hindi lamang basta puti ang kanilang ginagamit. They are also using colored powders kagaya nan. May color yellow, may color green, may color white. And I hope with all of our learners who are currently watching, you now have an idea how to create a Rangoli because for our part 2, you will be having an activity kung saan kayo naman ang lilikha ng sarili gamit ito. And look, if you would like to design it like a leaf or petal, ganyan po ang itsura niyan. Kinakailangan lamang natin ng isang pen at idudugtong o idodraw para magkaroon siya ng forma na magmukha siyang isang dahon o magmukha siyang isang petal coming from a circular format ng ating powdered sand. So I hope nakakuha po kayo ng idea sa aking ipinapakita at sa mga learners na nanonood ngayon, you can download this in DepEd Commons. I have uploaded it para magkaroon kayo ng idea at sa ating gagawin na pagsasanay tungkol sa Rangoli. Next time, sa ating part 2 session, ay makakagawa kayo ng magandang work of art. So, with all of these things being said, let's answer our exercise number 1. I only have here 4 questions, and I hope masagot na ninyo ito ng tama based sa aking binigay na hapyaw na discussion, paunang bahagi tungkol sa Indian art. o tungkol sa South Asian art. Number 1, this is the Indian art of making designs or patterns on the walls or the floor of the house using finely ground white powder along with different colors. Yan ba ay shirdax, swastika, rangoli, or tajiks? Online, what do you think is the best answer here? Ano ang tawag natin sa Indian art na bumubuo ng pattern? Ano ang tawag natin dito? If your answer is rangoli, then you are correct. As I've mentioned earlier sa ating part 2 session, magkakaroon tayo ng hands-on activity at tuturuan ko kayo kung paano ba natin ito gagawin. Kaya kay Mary Grace Sahilan na sumagot ng rangoli, you are correct. Tandaan, this is utilized o ginagamit sa kanilang celebration doon sa tinatawag natin na kanilang New Year celebration. At mamaya malalaman natin ulit sa ating pagre-review kung ano ang tawag doon. Now, answer this next item. Number 2. This is the act of fashioning and producing by cutting into or shaping solid materials such as wood or rock to form an artistic work. Nakitang-kita sa ating ancient art ng India at ganun din sa kanilang classical period. Is it A, painting, B, carving, C, emulating, or D, drawing? Alin kaya rito ang pinakatamang kasagutan? Kung saan isinasaayos yung mga bato sa mga kuweba o yung mga matitigas na bagay kagaya ng kahoy para magkaroon ng shape. Ano kaya ang tawag natin sa act of fashioning and producing this one into a cut formats? If your answer is letter B, carving, then you are correct. Dahil kagaya ng aking nabanggit kanina, yung isang temple na makikita dito, di ba sabi nga natin talagang na-build siya onto that format. At yan ay makikita natin sa ancient period o sa ancient art ng South Asia. Next, let's move on. Number 3. It refers to the major Hindu deity and is the destroyer or transformer among the Trimurti. Pag sinabi nating Trimurti, ito po yung tatlong Hindu deity, si Brahma, si Vishnu, at sino yung isa? Nabanggit ko na, sino kaya yung isang hinahanap natin dito na tinutukoy bilang isang the destroyer? Is it A, Vishnu, B, Allah, C, Brahma, or D, Shiva? Sa mga sumagot online, gagaya ni Lara May Dominguez, very good. Now, for this item, tama ang sagot ni Justin Falcotelo at ganun din kay Mary Grace Sahilan. The answer is Shiva. Sabi nga natin kanina, di ba? Meron siyang 4 na kamay na inelaborate at binigyan ng explanation kung ano ang ibig sabihin nito based on to that artwork. Now, we go to our 4th question and the last one for this exercise. This is a technique of mural paintings executed upon a laid line. Yan ba ay emulous, vegetative, frescoes, or flamboyant? Ang example nito yung nandun sa Sri Lanka. Ano kaya ito? O bigyan ko yung name, yung Sirigia. That is letter. If you choose letter C, frescoes, then you are correct. At gaya ng aking binanggit kanina, yan ay isang klase ng ancient art na mula po sa South Asia. So to my dear learners who are currently watching, you can download this presentation in DepEd Commons. Just simply go to ETUlay, Week 1 of the 3rd quarter, and simply download the presentation. To all teachers who are currently watching, you can download that, and after, you can also see the attachment of videos that I have utilized earlier. So with that, thank you so much and hope to see you again in our next session in ETUlay. Again, this is Tutor Mark, your Arts 8 tutor. Kita-kits sa susunod. Paalam!
Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETUlay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV para sa mga araling ginawang video episodes. Mapapanood ito mula Lunes hanggang Sabado, alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 7 ng gabi sa inyong mga telebisyon. Abangan bukas mula 1:00 ng tanghali ang iba pang aralin sa ating ETUlay free online tutorial session sa Filipino. I-like and subscribe at manatiling nakasubaybay sa ating ETUlay tutorial session sa DepEd Edtech Unit FB page at Educational Technology Unit channel sa YouTube at sa DepEd Tayo at DepEd Philippines social media accounts. Paalam!